Good morning, everybody. This is Neil Richardson, Chairman of the St. Louis Development Corporation. I'm excited to welcome you all to the February 2024 SLDC Board of Directors meeting that is being held via Zoom today. I would like to call the meeting to order. Can I have a roll call? Roll call, please.
Sure. Director Gilbert,
Here.
Director Sean Spencer,
Present.
Director Reed,
Here.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Here.
Alderwoman Karen Spencer,
Present.
Chair Richardson.
Present. Thank you all. We have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the December 14, 2023 regular scheduled board meeting that was held via Zoom. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So move, Gilbert.
Second, Sean Spencer.
Thank you, Sean, and Director Gilbert. Roll call vote.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director Sean Spencer,
Aye.
Director Reed, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Karen Spencer,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye.
Good boy.
All aye votes, the motion passes to approve the minutes from the December 14, 2023 regular scheduled board meeting. The first resolution that we will hear today is resolution number 24, SLDC 921, approving and authorizing the executive director of SLDC to allocate $7 million of new market tax credits for the Terra Environmental Holdings project. I'll pass it over to our director of our new market tax credit team, Mr. Bill Sedek.
Thank you, Neil. Good morning, all. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Good. I don't know if you can see me or not, but anyway, we are seeking authorization to suballocate up to $7 million of new market tax credits for the Terra Environmental Holdings transaction. Terra is a startup women-owned manufacturing business that will produce an EPA-recognized green fuel from commercial and industrial byproducts for use in cement and kiln plants located in Missouri, southern Illinois, within a 200 or 300 mile radius of St. Louis. And to refer to Terra as a startup doesn't really do justice to the experience that Tony Smith and his wife Amy have in sort of running businesses. Tony's a serial entrepreneur and has a public accounting background, and Amy's been involved in education and extensive management experience over the years. So they understand the technology, and they have been working diligently to get DNR permits and so on and so forth to get the facility opened. The total project costs are in excess of $8 million, in fact, just shy of $9 million. And they will use the proceeds to purchase, equip, and operate this facility, which is basically a treatment facility for processing hazardous or non-hazardous, and non-recyclable materials. They purchased a 5-acre site from Archer Daniels Midland, and they intend to take that site and renovate it and create the capacity to do basically this green energy cube. DNR has approved the site, which is located on the South Riverfront, actually on the Mississippi River, just down the hill from where Millipore Sigma is there at 2nd and Utah. So ADM will continue to operate their facility on the river, and Terra will take the remaining 5 acres, just shy of 5 acres, to run their facility. It's a 28,000 square foot building, like I said, previously approved by Missouri Department of Natural Resources to handle this material. And they intend to create minimum 20 jobs in phase 1. There is some excess property and some storage tanks that they might put into play in phase 2, but the initial goal right now is to launch the business in phase 1 and get that up and running. They'll offer job training to employees and basically income and career advancement to all, and they intend to hire from the neighborhood. They're both actually residents of the neighborhood, or were when they were growing up, and so they feel a affinity to folks that live down there. They are thinking of getting certified as a hub zone as well. They'll have potential clients with the federal government, and there'll be a hub zone basically designation if they can hire 35% of their employees from the hub zone, which is not an easy thing to do. So I don't want to attempt to talk about their technology, and I know Tony Smith is on, and he can give a little better flavor for how they intend to do the work, and also his background and what, you know, makes them perfect for this particular company. Tony, are you there?
I am, Bill. I appreciate the nice, kind introduction.
Absolutely. If you got a moment, you can maybe give a little background on sort of your vision here, and maybe take some questions from the board.
Happy to. Let me start off first by thanking everybody for their time this morning. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to present and to kind of tell our story. We're very proud of you know, where we've come from and kind of how we've gotten here. So we'll touch on that a little bit. As Bill alluded to, Amy and I are both you know, Bevo area residents. We grew up in the area as kids. You know, went to school in the area, so we have a real affinity for the area, and are really proud that the project we're going to be able to kick off here is kind of in our backyard where we grew up as kids. So there's a unique tie from our personal perspective. But as Bill mentioned, we're a Missouri Department of Natural Resources permitted facility. We're planning basically to take any non-recyclable materials that are either, you know, there's not a good outlet for those materials that exist currently, or maybe they're too contaminated. We're going to be able to take those materials, regardless of the condition that they come in, all non-hazardous materials, and we're going to be able to process those into a fuel that the kilns will be able to burn in lieu of burning coal. So you'll save all of the emissions from coal, along with all the associated emissions that are, you know, required to dig coal up and generate that type of material. So this is a process that is widely recognized. It's been going on the East and West Coast, and it's kind of finally migrated to the Midwest here, more in mass, as a lot of the manufacturers in the area have kind of forced their tier 1, tier 2 suppliers to really represent and show that they are sustainable. So there's a big move now among a lot of the manufacturers, not just the Fortune 500s, to kind of get to this space. Currently, a lot of this material in our backyard here in the St. Louis MSA is bypassing our facility and going to Indianapolis, where they use it to generate electricity for the city of Indianapolis. So what we're proposing here would keep a lot of these materials and work opportunities within the St. Louis MSA, along with keeping all those trucks off the road from, you know, here and beyond to the Indianapolis area. So with that, I'll kind of open it up for any questions, and hopefully I kind of gave enough background on the project.
Thank you so much, Tony, for the update. This is a great project. I do want to pass it over to Alderwoman Spencer. I recognize your hand.
Thank you, Director Richardson. Thank you, Tony, for being here today. I, as a member of the SLDC board, obviously sitting here, but I'm also the alderman of the 8th Ward, and this is in my district. And so I'm just curious if you've, you know, reached out to the neighborhood. I actually, it quite literally is in my backyard. I think it's just about 400 feet from where I'm sitting. I happen to live right along the river there. And it sounds like a great project. I'd like to learn more about it and certainly be able to communicate with the community. One of the issues we've had along the riverfront here is a lot of what I would say odor issues. This has been an ongoing problem for several years. Much of it's coming from Sauget and not necessarily the Missouri side of the river, but there's certainly a lot of concern. So I think some positive and constructive communication with the community about what you're doing there, especially the environmental side, would be very, very helpful.
Absolutely, Alderperson Spence. I appreciate that comment and that feedback. I think one of the selling points, we met with Alderman Gunther in order to get the approval, kind of in that transition process, was the concerns about odor and obviously any vectors and material just kind of getting outside. The beauty of our facility is it's a fully enclosed facility, so we will process and are required to process all that material inside. So four-sided walls, fully enclosed building so that everything will be controlled. And if smell does become an issue, we have several options in order to kind of mitigate that with different systems that are used similar to landfills. But we don't anticipate processing anything that would really give off any type of odor. As Bill mentioned, I've got a history in doing this. I've been in the environmental industry for about 15 years. Ran a facility over in Caseyville, Illinois before it was sold, and I've never had one single odor call. So, but definitely something we're aware of, and we operate transparently. So we welcome any constructive feedback, certainly.
I appreciate that. And I would appreciate the opportunity to kind of see what you're doing. And it might be helpful just as a matter, just when we're considering issues here at SLDC, we can just, maybe give a heads up to the respective alderpersons that these developments are happening so that there's a level of communication with the community around. I'm excited to learn more and maybe see in person. That's all I have. Thank you, directors.
Thank you, Alderwoman Spencer. Again, thank you, Tony, very much for this great project. I want to recognize Director Spencer, Sean Spencer, your hand.
Thank you, Director Richardson. Just one question on, when we're talking about new market tax credits, we want to talk about the jobs. I know it was mentioned in the resolution, but maybe you could talk about salary ranges, how many jobs you expect to create, and maybe what the long-term plan is. Also, just wondering if SLDC or any other parties within the region helped you with the site selection, finding that location.
I appreciate the question, Alderman. In regards to the second question, no, it was a unique situation where ADM Artco was a customer and they had this unique project and they wanted to maintain the river rights and find a buyer that really wasn't biased one way or another about keeping those river rights. So for us, the facility with the large ceiling height and the large unobstructed footprint was really a sell. So we were able to kind of connect with them off market in order to find this. But I will say everybody in the zoning, in the permitting has been extremely helpful, all the way from SLDC down to, just the zoning folks. The city has been very, very helpful, held us to task, but, accommodating. And then I'm sorry, what was your second question?
About the job creations now and then maybe down the line.
Yeah, so
salary ranges.
So obviously, as we're ramping up, the jobs will be fewer as we start. But within the 3-year time frame, we're expecting to be at about 20 full-time equivalent employees, with the vast majority of those being technicians and some CDL drivers. And in today's dollars, those positions will probably be in the $50,000 to $80,000 range, with a full suite of company-paid health, dental, vision benefits, retirement plan, paid vacation, sick time, all of the traditional benefits that you would expect. As Bill also mentioned, on the 4.25 acre site that we have a large swath that's essentially vacant. Our phase 2 plan, again, depending on how the business takes off, how quickly or slowly, would be to expand some of our processing capabilities for the alternate fuel in the existing building, and then be able to do some other treatment options in another facility. And that could add, again, I hesitate because I don't want to overpromise, but that could add another 15 to 20 jobs easily on that particular parcel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? I know we have several. Alderwoman Spencer. You're on mute, Alderwoman.
Thank you. I just have a couple more questions about the, I just remain some, have some, so the property, excuse me, and I have a bit of a cold here this morning, so, the property was purchased recently, from ADM. Is that right? Is that what I'm
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
December 6th, we closed, and we had been working on it for about probably a year and a half, because the property was contingent upon DNR permitting, City of St. Louis approval, Missouri Department of Natural Resources approval, all of those approvals.
And do you have experience with the burning of these products currently? Is this something that you're doing somewhere else in the state, or is this going to be a new endeavor?
So we won't actually be burning on site. We won't be burning. We will be processing the material. So essentially, it involves bringing the material in, and before it's brought in, it is screened by our environmental health professionals and engineers. So we know exactly what material is coming in before it ever hits our door. That's a requirement of our permit and our processes.
Okay.
We will then bring that material in, blend that material up, process it to size reduce it to a size that the kilns can use in order to burn coal. So the kilns will be Boozy Unisem and Festus, Wholesome and Bloomsdale, Cape Girardeau, which is another Boozy Unisem plant. Potentially a site that we have in close to Marshall, Missouri, where we have a relationship. But all of that processing will be done on their sites in a very controlled atmosphere with stacks that feed directly to the EPA, so that all air emissions are monitored and obviously complied with. And the one requirement for our fuel is that it has to burn cleaner than coal. In order for the EPA legitimacy criteria to be met, we have to burn cleaner than coal. So when it goes to that plant, it has to basically be a cleaner fuel. And we will have some testing that we run that we're required to do on a weekly basis and then monthly basis in order to ensure that that is the case.
That's helpful, and hopefully it's significantly cleaner than coal, because that's a pretty low bar, but I'm really grateful to hear there's some work on that front, and particularly grateful to learn that there's going to be no burning on this site, especially with its close proximity to neighborhoods and the pending lawsuit related to, I would say, environmental contamination, and that's been in the works for several years in that particular area. So you're just going to be gathering the material there and then packaging it into smaller pieces and then moving it aside. I don't want to take up the whole SLDC time here. So if we could just meet offsite and learn a little bit more about the material and things like that, it would be very helpful.
That would be great. And Tony, if you and Alderwoman Spencer can connect, I'll ensure that you have some time to touch base. Yeah, thank you. And so Bill, I recommend that and Alderwoman Spencer and Tony find some time over the next couple days to meet and have a further conversation about the processing of the overall materials and how the company works through the process. But the overall, again, goal, as Director Sean Spencer mentioned, is the new market tax credits is a federal program that allows us to attract in businesses that create employment opportunities in our city. So really excited about that. And it does not impact the new market tax credits does not impact the local tax base at all. So this is very different than tax abatement. So this would create not just new revenue for the city in the form of earnings tax, but also property tax as well. So again, very appreciative of your investment in the city of St. Louis, and happy that we're able to assist in any way possible, Tony. But definitely highly recommend you connecting with Alderwoman Spencer to give her a deeper overview of the company.
We will, and Alderperson Spencer, I apologize again with the transition from Dan Gunther to your office. I think that was kind of missed as we are starting our business up and kind of in the heat of everything. But we will reach out immediately after this call.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So with that, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 921.
I move that we approve resolution 921.
Second, Shameen.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director Sean Spencer,
Aye.
Director Reed,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Kara Spencer,
Aye.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With all aye votes, the motion passes to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 921. Again, thank you, Tony, and your team at Terra Environmental Holdings for your investment in St. Louis. I'll like to take the next resolution up, resolution number 24 SLDC 922. Approving and authorizing executive director of SLDC to allocate $10 million in new market tax credits for the Urban League project. I'll pass it back over to Mr. Bill Sutter.
Thank you, Neil. We are seeking authorization to sub-allocate up to $10 million of new market tax credits for the Urban League headquarters and Social Innovation Center project. I had the honor of attending the Urban League's annual celebration last year, and I was really overwhelmed by the outpouring of support from corporations, politicos, neighborhood groups, their clients. I mean, everybody there. I mean, it was just an amazing event. And I came away from that evening with a much, much stronger appreciation for the organization and their contributions to not only the city of St. Louis, but the entire metropolitan area. It was really a love fest, and they're an amazing organization. But I'd like to say that, you know, we're excited to be a party to this phase 2 of their development. Somehow we got overlooked on phase 1. I'm not pointing any fingers, but US Bank was involved. And when the organization moved out of Grand Center into the old Sears building on North Kings Highway, we were not a party to that deal. But now we're excited to be in this next phase. So thank you for that. This allocation is going to be used to basically continue the redevelopment of the old Sears building on North Kings Highway. There are offices to still be renovated. And as Michael Holmes said recently, the building is almost 100 years old, and the portions of it that haven't been renovated are suffering from chronic deferred maintenance. And I certainly know what that's like. I live in a home that's older than that, so I get it. First and second floors need extensive renovation. They need HVAC system replaced. The lighting needs to be upgraded, flooring. And so there's outside of this 10 million, there's still additional money that they're going to need to raise and spend. But the project also envisions a standalone greenhouse outside of the facility, in the lot right next to the building. So they've got their work cut out for them, but they need to renovate space for not only their own programs, but you know, they've got Edward Jones and banks, and so they're really bringing a lot of services to the community that aren't already there. So I think that's a great thing that they're, you know, stepping up and trying to be a catalyst. And beyond the myriad of services that they provide their clients, the Urban League wants the headquarters to sort of act as a play a major role really in convincing people to stay in North St. Louis or move back to North St. Louis and just resettle there. I guess that's probably phase 3 though, and hopefully we can be involved in that aspect of their strategy. But anyway, we have representatives from the Urban League on the call. I don't know who's Andre or
I did see Michael Holmes on the.
And Michael Holmes joined.
Yeah.
And so if someone could maybe just talk a little bit around how the renovation looks and sort of your plans for the phase 2 and phase 3, if that's something you're comfortable with.
Oh, absolutely. Hi, this is Andre Young. I'm the Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer for the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis. We appreciate the opportunity to be in front of this board. Really thank you guys for, being a part or us asking you to be a part of phase 2. Not sure, Bill, how we missed phase 1 either, but there will be more. As you know, the Urban League has been providing social and human services, including advocacy, for over 103 years in this community. As Bill mentioned, we recently transferred our headquarters, where we will be adding, and I will just use a term called an urban forum, to our business and our services. This urban forum, of course, consists of that greenhouse that he mentioned and a hydroponic farm. It's a major element of our over $20 million restoration of the Victor Roberts building, which we both know is pretty large. As you mentioned, it's over 100 years old. It's 205,000 square feet. And it was the former location of the Sears and Roebuck building. So we're transforming this into our new regional headquarters. And as you know, this building is an icon, and it serves as an anchor in the St. Louis historic Kingsway West neighborhood. Our plan is to add the urban farm in order to increase the agriculture in the area. Just a few statistics, as urban density increases, the Department of Agriculture expects 66% of the population to be living in urban areas by 2050, delivering fresh produce to major cities, figures to be an even greater challenge. According to the USDA, St. Louis is the 24th worst city in the country in terms of access to healthy food options. A little more than 6.1% of the city population lives in low-income census tract, at least 1 mile away from a grocery store. The Urban League would like to change the dynamics in a major way. And we're doing this urban farm in order to do that, in addition to bringing about jobs that's not historically for African Americans. Ultimately, our plan is to provide employment in the following areas: 40 tower farmers, and one full-time farmer can manage 50 towers. We will employ 15 packaging associates, 5 consumer educators, and 3 plant managers. This is in addition to the employment that will occur due to the construction and renovation of the headquarters. So ultimately, at the end of the project, for the forum at least, that's what we plan to do. As far as some of the other services that the Urban League provide at this regional headquarters, those include our workforce development, where we have over 25 workforce specialists that place over 100 individuals into jobs each month throughout this region. We also have our housing division that help low-income families not only find and obtain housing, but to purchase homes. Over the last 6 months, we've moved over 50 families into permanent houses where they are homeowners. Some of the other programs, as you may be aware of, is our weatherization program, where we weatherize over 150 homes. And these are older homes. These are not homes that you could just put a HVAC system in and just walk away. These are homes that require a major investment. And so we have our team out there, and we're investing upwards of $10,000 to $15,000, sometimes $18,000 into over 150 homes in this community. All of these activities are happening right here at this regional headquarters. And we appreciate the opportunity to share this with you. And if you have any more questions, I have my colleague, Michael Holmes. I know he's on the call. Not sure as how much he could share because he's taking care of some a medical business right now. But if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to entertain those.
Thank you, Mr. Young. I really appreciate that great presentation and all of the hard work of the Urban League, especially the work that's happening in North St. Louis City with your new headquarters. I think I have some insight into how US Bank won that deal on round one. I was at US Bank at the time. So I just brought that magic over to SLDC to make sure that we kept that streak alive at SLDC. So again, excited about that. I do want to recognize Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, as this is within your ward. If you have any thoughts or input about this project.
Yeah, my thoughts remain the same. I'm just always excited and inspired at the opportunities that Urban League of St. Louis continues to serve in our community. So yeah, I'm over there maybe almost looking at more than once a week now. I teased about it last week. I need to get an office over there because it's so, it's so much great work. You want to be involved. It really provides the Urban League and what they're doing over there under the leadership of Mike McMillan and the amazing teams that he has over there have put together. I tell them all the time, they balance it out, right? The work that they're doing balances it out. The humanity, the social empowerment that they give in over there, the education, right? And so when you talk about you want to uplift the community, the Urban League is definitely doing that. So yeah, I'm proud. Everybody knows I brag. I'm proud to be the lady for the Urban League, and I'm proud to always talk about their work. And this is the way that we can continue to work. So of course, I'm 100% in support of it. Thank you, Mr. Young, for being here this morning and sharing this great information with the team as well.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments from the directors in regards to this project? Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion for previous row to approve resolution number 23 SLDC 923.
I move that we approve resolution number 24 SLDC 923 with previous.
I'm sorry, 922. I'm sorry, Alderwoman, 922.
I was looking like, wait a minute, I thought it was 922. Okay.
I've already jumped to the next one. Sorry.
Right. All right. I make that redraw their motion. I make a motion to approve resolution 24 SLDC 922.
Second.
Our previous
row.
Our previous row. Any objections, abstentions to previous row? Hearing none, the motion passes to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 922. So, thank you again. Thank you, Urban League and Mr. Young. Please send my regards to Mr. McMillan. I appreciate the support that you all are doing and the investment that you're making in North St. Louis City and the impact it's having in the city of St. Louis overall. Thank you again for your investment.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is resolution number 24 SLDC 923, approving MLK Corridor Digital Twin pilot project. I'll pass it over to our Vice President of Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives, Mr. Stephen Davis.
Thank you, Chairman Richardson, and good morning, everyone. This resolution authorizes SLDC to engage in urban planning and geospatial design firm Housiel Levine and Associates to develop what we're calling a hyper-local digital twin of the MLK demonstration area. And the reason this geographic area was selected is not only because it's in our Economic Justice Index 1, there are several initiatives that will impact, including the old Killark Industrial Site, the Advanced Manufacturing Innovation Center, and the For the Ville Cultural Boulevard neighborhood plan. And the intention is to articulate a vision for the future that residents and stakeholders can interact with more effectively. So the services provided by Housiel Levine are not to exceed $50,000. And some quick background for those who may not be familiar with the term digital twin. This development of a hyper-local digital twin has several intended purposes. One being socioeconomic development benefits include a better understanding of the community based on population characteristics and understanding of development opportunities and their large and small scale impacts on the area. It will also give SLDC and our partners to model development opportunities and specific projects to see what they will look like in 3D and the impact they'll have throughout the project lifestyle. So it's a tool not only that we can use to be better informed as far as the investments decisions that we're making. It's also a tool that can be used for community engagement, so residents can immerse themselves in the projects and experience what the vision of the future could look like. So establishing a digital twin will create, again, situational awareness and a common operating platform for SLDC and our partner organizations. It can enhance coordination and collaboration between all infrastructure growth and modernization stakeholders. So we think about, Ameren, MSD, and other infrastructure partners, making sure we're coordinated on those development efforts. Again, it's also a way to track neighborhood transformation, as that's one of SLDC's priorities, is to show, where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. So it's a tool that can really be used to visualize it and articulate that. It also has other opportunities to further partner with our academic partners, including the Taylor Geospatial Institute for research purposes, and Harris Stowe with their geospatial curriculum. And again, it positions SLDC as a leader as we continue to grow the geospatial ecosystem in St. Louis. And it's a way for us to practice what we preach as we develop this center of excellence. So I'll pause there and open it up for questions.
I'll pass it to Director Gilbert. I recognize your hand.
Yes, what's the source of funding for this?
This is coming out of the ARPA interest funds.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And as we are going through the neighborhood planning process in partnership with our friends at Planning and Urban Design Agency, this is another tool that can be utilized for the community to really help vision and see on an interactive map the opportunities that exist today and what the future investments impact will be on that area and those communities. So really excited about what this offers as it relates to community engagement opportunities and ensuring that we create the vision that works best for the current residents and businesses that reside within those areas. We also will continue to gather input in partnership with for the Ville, the Greaterville, the Jeff Van Loo neighborhoods that are within this geography that will support us as we develop this digital twin and ensuring that we are designing the neighborhood and attracting development that is aligned with the neighborhood's vision, and ensuring that we're doing development with the community and not just to the community. So excited about this project. Any other comments or questions from the directors? Alderwoman Spencer.
Thank you, Director Richardson. So this is just, if I'm reading correctly, just a fairly small project, $50,000 to do modeling work specifically in that area. Is that right? And this is coming out of you said the interest from the ARPA funds?
Correct. Yeah. So this is like I said, a hyper local digital twin. So it's, again, covering a specific geographic area that was selected due to the amount of investment and projects that are happening within that specific geography. But the idea is that we can build on this as we're looking, PDA is looking to do neighborhood plans for every neighborhood in the city. This could be a tool to, again, enhance community engagement so residents can experience the neighborhood plans that are coming and potential developments as well.
Thank you. And just real quickly, that firm that's doing this, I don't know how are they a local firm, or where are they located?
They're based out of Chicago.
But they will be yeah, thank you, Alderwoman Spencer. But they will be working with local firms and also local community-based organizations. We've engaged for the Ville, the Greaterville, and other neighborhood organizations that's within this area to ensure that they are working with them alongside this process. But then also there are other projects that the Ville specifically is working on called the Culture Boulevard Project. And so it will help enhance that work too and ensure that that's integrated into this digital twin approach. And again, it's almost like a Google map of like where we are today, and the community can actually drop down into the neighborhood. We can talk to developers about particular projects, and then those projects can be placed within this digital twin approach. So then the community can see kind of how that project can interact with infrastructure, with traffic flow, how does it impact density in that neighborhood. So it really is an advanced approach to neighborhood planning and economic development. So really excited about it, but appreciate the question.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the directors? Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 923 per previous row.
So moved, Gilbert, previous role.
I have a
Second, Don Spencer.
motion and a second for previous row. Any objections or abstentions from previous row? Hearing none, the motion passes to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 923. The next item on the agenda is resolution number 24 SLDC 924, authorizing revised agreement with Build Missouri Health to serve as fiscal sponsor in support of Green City Coalition. Pass it over to our Director of Real Estate and LRA, Mr. Sheldon Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the board and everyone attending. So this resolution authorizes the revised agreement with Build Missouri Health. That agreement is essentially serving as the fiscal sponsor in support of Green City Coalition. And just to provide some background, SLDC, as many of us may know, currently has an agreement with Build Missouri Health, whereby it serves as the current fiscal sponsor for Green Cities Coalition projects and initiatives. And those are initiatives and projects that LRA directly leads. Within the program itself, there are several program partners that either contribute funding or resources within GCC. Some of those program partners are Missouri Department of Conservation, MSD, Department of Parks and Recreations, Forestry, and then there are other contributing partners, contractors, et cetera, who contribute with the collective work for the Green City Coalition. Also, as you may know, the primary mission of the Green City Coalition is to address several issues within our city that really deals with addressing the challenges faced with vacancy, and specifically vacant properties that either LRA owns or parcels that affect neighboring community members. Some of those challenges are really redeveloping the city's green spaces and its native landscapes. And those also deal with some of the missions that MSD has set forth, which is addressing water, sewer runoff, floodplain issues, all of those which impacts the majority of the residents in North City, St. Louis neighborhoods. So LRA has been serving as a leader for GCC since approximately 2016, and it has physically staffed the effort since the summer of 2018. And the purpose of this resolution really, at a macro level, will renew the existing relationship that LRA and SLD currently has with Build Missouri Health, and allowing it to continue to serve as its fiscal sponsor. It will modify one element of that agreement, and that is really converting to a Model C sponsorship agreement. And that really has to do with Build Missouri Health continuing to manage and receive grants and funds that are a part of the program that come to SLDC, and being able to fiscally manage, make payments, reporting functions that are required as a part of the program to essentially alleviate the burden that would come to SLDC and LRA staff in managing that process for numerous green space projects and activities as we continue to build out the Green City Coalition program. That will also serve as a cost model whereby Build Missouri Health will retain 6 cents on the dollar for all the funds that are received within the program. And certainly LRA and SLDC has the authority to make changes, modifications to payments, to relationships, to program sponsors and partners that contribute as a part of the program, and what funds that will be allocated and payments that will be made as a part of the fiscal relationship. So that's the big high level, is really renewing the existing relationship and fiscal sponsorship agreement that we have, with one slight modification. I'll also add that this is in direct support of LRA's overall mission for this year, as we're furthering the block by block approach, where we're taking active programs that have to do with stabilization, demolition, certainly this addressing the challenges with green space that happen on a neighborhood perspective, and then furthering the reactivation of not just all of our other areas and programs, but being conscious about now really ramping up the green space and native land space activation that LRA has not been able to do to the level of which it will be able to do this year and in future years. So I will also pause. I know Laura again is attending as well, and yield to any questions for any of the board members or members that are attending.
Thank you, Shelton, for that great presentation and overview. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 924 per previous roll.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 924 per previous roll. Any objections? Abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. The next item we have on the agenda is resolution number 24 SLDC 925, authorizing funding to Laclede's Landing Main Street program to support their staff to further economic and community development. I'll pass it over to our Vice President of Neighborhood Transformation, Mr. Darrell Smith.
Thank you. Thank you, Board of Directors. I'll be brief. This is a resolution that would be authorizing funding to Laclede's Landing Main Street for staff to further economic and community development. The Missouri Main Street Connection is designed to preserve historic and urban areas. The partnership was with Missouri Main Street and SLDC to revitalize and develop and celebrate the historic area. The goal is to help make the landing a thriving destination for residents. And so I have here today several people who are in support of this work and really look for support to make sure that they can continue to do the transformational work in this area. We are asking for $128,000 to fund an executive director to really focus on managing and employing all of the necessary things needed to push this work forward. And so today I have with us someone here, Jan. She's in the boardroom right now. She can go ahead and get on the mic and answer any questions and give some more information about this initiative.
Okay. So Jan, I'll pass it over to you. We've had several discussions about the work that Laclede's Landing Main Street is doing and really helping to stabilize and create a more robust and vibrant Laclede Landing. So I'll pass it over to you for an update.
Thank you, Neil. Thanks for allowing me to come here in person because my internet was down. So I had to race over here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak in support of this resolution on behalf of Laclede's Landing Main Street. My name is Jan Sandweiss, and I'm a property owner on Laclede's Landing, and I currently serve as president of Laclede's Landing Main Street. We have owned the Raider Place building, which everybody knows as Old Spaghetti Factory building. Although my dad tried very hard to have it known as Raider Place, everybody still calls it Old Spaghetti Factory building. So we've owned that for over 30 years. And so I have been on the landing during the vibrant times and the desolate times, the good, bad, and the ugly. So there are other property and business owners like me who have weathered the difficult times, and we are working very hard to revitalize our community. Not just for the landing, but for the entire city. We have seen public investment from the city and state in our infrastructure, streets, sidewalks, lighting, and landscaping. And we appreciate it so much. We have seen developers invest significant amounts of money in residential rehabs and have once empty buildings currently filled to capacity with new residential residents. Laclede's Landing was identified in the Design Downtown St. Louis Master Plan that was adopted by the City of St. Louis Planning Commission as a neighborhood plan, as a priority area for redevelopment. The Landing was literally St. Louis's first neighborhood, and we are working to make it a vibrant neighborhood where people live, tourists visit, and all of St. Louis can come to enjoy the riverfront in a way we have not been able to do before. The Missouri Main Street Organization recognized our efforts, and we became a Main Street community in 2021. We have been working closely with the St. Louis Development Corporation and have seen many great things occur. We have a new park, Catherine Ward Bird Garden, revitalized residential buildings, green space, where we used to have a derelict parking garage. And we have much more underway. While much has been done, there's still a lot more to do. And this resolution will take an important and crucial step towards our success. We can no longer function on volunteers alone. Funding for this full-time position will allow us to achieve our goals by giving us the necessary staff support we need. We are so grateful for all that SLDC is doing to help revitalize Laclede's Landing, and this funding is a key component to our future success. We will all be able to look back on this help as turning the tide and bringing back the historic Laclede's Landing. Thank you so much for considering this.
Thank you, Jan. Again, really appreciate your partnership and leadership down on Laclede's Landing. I know one of the first times you and I met was at the abstract marketing meeting to really hear from, one of the top employers in this entire city about, some of the challenges they're faced with on Laclede's Landing and the need to have greater capacity from the community to support their employees, to create a greater experience for them. And I'm very hopeful that, through our partnership and relationship that we continue to build between Laclede Landing, Main Street, SLDC, Alderwoman Spencer, and the city of St. Louis overall, that we can continue to be responsive to those needs and those challenges, and providing capacity to neighborhood organizations. As one of our key primary goals within the Economic Justice Action Plan is to strengthen neighborhoods. A piece of that is to invest into those CDCs, nonprofits, and Main Street programs. So again, this furthers our work along the Economic Justice Action Plan. I would like to recognize Director Gilbert's hand for any questions.
Yes, I'm familiar, from the past. Laclede's Landing Redevelopment Corporation has been there forever. Is that still active, and do they interface with Main Street, or did Main Street take it over? I would just like to know.
Okay, it's a good question. We had to, when Main Street came on, we reorganized all the governing bodies of the landing because there are several. And so the Redevelopment Corporation is still there, and their job is to help us enforce all of the changes that we promote through the Main Street organization. So, when we have to have buildings improved on the outside so it looks better, they will help enforce that.
Okay, and where's the funding for this coming from?
No, that's a great question, Director Gilbert. So as we are, again, looking at the American Rescue Plan Act funds, obviously we've been very focused and intentional on the HUD qualified census tracts. And per the HUD guidelines, we are required to focus and prioritize those HUD qualified census tracts. But unfortunately, the Laclede Landing Main Street is the only Main Street program within the city that's not within the HUD qualified census tract, because the census tracts that they pull in also cover the ballpark village as well. So some of those incomes, those higher income units and households kind of skew the number significantly. However, we know there's still some significant challenges on the landing that we want to address through this. So we are leveraging our American Rescue Plan Act ARPA interest that has been earned at SLDC through our investments of those funds as we are deploying those resources. And so it's a way to further, again, our work of the Economic Justice Action Plan, and really the spirit of the ARPA program is to strengthen these communities that have seen significant challenges in light of COVID directly. We can all agree that COVID has had a significant impact on Laclede's Landing. And so we found some resources through the ARPA interest funds to be able to support this program. So that's where the money is being sourced, Director Gilbert.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Director Spencer.
Thank you. I'm excited about this opportunity. Is probably long overdue. You know, as a not-for-profit leader, not having somebody in a paid position is recipe for failure. So I really look forward to getting this moving. But I do have a question about the sustainability. And have there been any thoughts to what happens when this funding runs out, and how you continue to be able to keep somebody in that very important position going forward? I'm not familiar with, you know, if there's a SID or an SBD, or, you know, what other potential income sources there could be, but I do think that that's an important part of this conversation.
I agree completely, and we have thought about it, and we're hoping that with the addition of an executive director, it will help improve the landing. We'll get more tenants, and we do have a SID, just a Laclede's Landing SID, and that will give us more income. And also, I think we'll be able to go after more grants if there's somebody organizing the whole thing. And I think that will bring in more income.
Yeah, and Director Spencer, I think you hit that on the head, because that was some of the challenges that, you know, we were talking through as we considered funding for this organization around the sustainability of the work. But it takes, as you know, it takes an initial investment to have someone in place to actually, you can hire at a professional level that can complete these grants, can go out and raise awareness of the program, and to continue to really ring the bell on the importance of investment in Laclede Landing and in this organization. And, you know, we're going to work hand in hand with Laclede Landing Main Street to go out and raise funds with them. And hopefully this initial support that is being shown by SLDC through your approval at the board of directors signals to the market that the city is invested into this area, and bringing in other businesses and other investment to support this important organization.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll pass it over to Director Alderwoman Spencer.
Thank you, Director Richardson. I just wanted to recognize your efforts here and leadership, and coming to meet with Jan and the folks at Abstract and hearing the concerns. In a lot of ways, Laclede's Landing has been sort of a forgotten area of our city, and it is so vitally important to our downtown and the success of our city as a whole. Because of its proximity to downtown, the historic district itself is absolutely stunning, and I'm really grateful to see this investment here on the part of SLDC, and not just the funding here, but the amount of time we're spending and investment we're making in manpower to try to figure out and triangulate some of the issues here, and some long-term solutions to revitalizing one of the most I would say beautiful and incredible parts of our city. We just lost a huge warehouse just north of here. It was a huge, significant loss. It also kind of speaks to just sort of the forgotten nature of that area. And so this is coming at a very important time, a critical time, I think, for downtown and Laclede's Landing in general, and what I would consider the north downtown area. And so I hope that this is just the start of a long, successful relationship between SLDC and Laclede's Landing.
Thank you, Alderwoman Spencer, for your remarks. Jen, do you have any final comments before we send it to the board for approval?
No, I just appreciate all of your help.
Thank you, Jen. And so with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 23 SLDC 925 per previous roll. Do I have a motion?
So move, Gilbert.
John Spencer?
Yes, I have Director Spencer making the motion, Sean Spencer, and then Director Gilbert seconded. Alderwoman Spencer, I think you were a moment too late there, but we appreciate the interaction. So is there any objections to the previous roll? Abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes to approve resolution number 24 SODC 925. Thank you again, Jan, and you could always reach out to me and the team, specifically Darrell and the neighborhood transformation team, as we move forward, because we have to make this sustainable, and McLeod Landing is a very important neighborhood to the future growth of the city of St. Louis. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you. And I'm sure we will be reaching out.
Yeah, thank you. So the next item on the agenda is resolution number 24 SLDC 926, authorizing SLDC to award grants for the North City Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program to eligible businesses and nonprofits for completion of capacity building activities offered through the program. I'll pass it over to our Senior Vice President of Strategic Growth, Mr. Lance Knuckles.
Directors and Director Richardson, it is always an honor and a privilege to be before you to bring information about the progress of work happening at SLDC and seeking your support to continue to move efforts forward. As Mr. Richardson mentioned, this resolution is resolution number 24 SLDC 926, with the focus on getting authorization to approve grant awards for the North St. Louis Small Business and Nonprofit Grant Program. Prior to moving into the actual ask of the resolution, I think it's really beneficial to offer some background and context for the board as you consider supporting this work moving forward. As you all know, SLDC is the steward of approximately $112 million of American Rescue Plan Act funds. And as you witnessed today in this conversation, SLDC's commitment to ensuring that we're diversifying and offering access to opportunities across the city in places like Laclede Landings where we are not able to move ARPA funds. This program that we're speaking about was a program designed to provide support and recovery to businesses adversely impacted by COVID in North St. Louis, as well as finding an opportunity to transform the built environment in that community. As you all know, the initial legislation was launched and moved forward. That legislation was modified, and so we have what we're calling these two groups of applicants: those who had moved forward and started with the original program, and then those who reapplied thereafter. As the program has gone through, we've been able to learn a lot from this program, identifying that we have a number of businesses who are still working really hard to build the business acumen and the resources to support their daily operations. So this program is actually moving into a space to provide the access and opportunity for our businesses not only to recover from COVID, but also find ways to be more sustainable by accessing the educational and training programs that are a part of this grant opportunity. And so in this moment in time, we're asking for your support, directors, to approve us to be able to move forward and begin to provide funds to businesses that have completed the training and education part of this program that would allow dollars to begin to move into community and support the recovery of those businesses, providing that resource to them as they move forward. The second phase of the work that will come later will be the overarching aspect of the business support around expansion, stabilization, and community enhancement. But this is a critical stage as we begin to assess these businesses and go through the formal process of understanding viability of these businesses, and then each business doing a financial assessment, understanding their position in the market, and helping them go through this training and education that would allow them to be more competitive as we continue to move out of the impacts of COVID-19 in our great city of St. Louis. And so in this moment in time, we're at a position where there are a number of businesses, approximately 125 or 150 businesses, that have completed these training components and their financial assessments. So we seek your support and consideration to allow us to begin to fund those businesses for that activity as we continue to do the work moving forward. We are set to communicate a very strategic communication about this work upon your approval of this effort in this board meeting today, and we'll be able to identify those businesses along the journey. More specifically, hosting a webinar in the coming days to be able to provide more direct information about where every business is within this journey and where they stand, and they can understand what comes next. And so I will yield the floor again to seek your support, to ask me any questions around supporting this resolution to provide capacity building grants not to exceed $10,000 to support the businesses that are at a position where they have completed the financial assessment, the business viability assessment, as well as the academy training for business training and support. So I'll yield the floor to answer any question from the directors prior to seeking your approval to support this resolution.
And Lance, can you give an update on the number of businesses that actually applied for the program and that are available to receive this funding?
Yes, sir, Director Richardson. So we've received approximately 700 applications, which is a daunting number. Prior to the August 1 relaunch of the application, we had we had 227 applications, and the launch of the new application triggered an additional 500 applications coming into the pipeline. And so in that we have, again, Director Richardson, I believe I don't have the number in front of me, but I believe the number is approximately 150 businesses that are ready and in a position to start to secure funding from a training and academic perspective. So thank you for that question, Mr. Richardson. I apologize for not providing that in my comments earlier.
No problem. And just quickly, that the almost 700 businesses that apply, all of them are available to receive this capacity building grant program, right? So all 700, even if they don't get the larger funding opportunities, at least we provide capacity building to everybody that applied. Is that accurate? Right. Did you get that, Lance?
Yes, sir. Did I get the statement that you made, or recognizing?
I was just wanted you to confirm that statement.
Oh, so sorry, Director Richardson. I would state the response this way, Director Richardson, that out of all the eligible businesses within the 700 that complete the business viability assessment and complete the academy and complete a financial assessment would be eligible for this $10,000. That is correct, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to put that on the record.
Yes, sir.
Director Spencer, then Director Gilbert.
This is another exciting program. You guys are doing so much work. The volume of applications is obviously a big question about, how do you provide that, that level of service to the grant recipient. But I think my question is more about how can you support those small businesses after that grant, is delivered. $10,000 is a very, it's a good starting point, but they may need access to additional capital. They may need additional support. So is that part of the plan in addition to, how we're going to roll out the actual grant?
Director Spencer, it's always great having you in conversations. You ask really good questions. And so Commissioner, Director Spencer, I think it is really important for the directors to understand that we feel confident in our ability to continue to support these businesses. We have the Northside Economic Empowerment Center that is doing a phenomenal job serving businesses in the city. I believe we are learning that there are opportunities for us to provide more training and education for our local nonprofit businesses, where we have at the NEC been more focused on for-profit businesses. So we are learning about how we might bring additional support to those businesses. But we will continue to grow and scale programs with the Northside Economic Empowerment Center to provide these pathways to support businesses moving forward. And so at this moment in time, as we get through this program, that is kind of stage one. We're clearly looking at this program having what we'll call 3 buckets of funding within it, as defined within our subrecipient agreement, that there's a portion of training and education, because that is really critical for businesses to understand, to grow and thrive, and how to really set themselves up for success. Then there's a larger pool for community enhancement, which is the built environment, which is a key component of the program. And then the third tranche of funds are really focused and centered around stabilization and expansion. And that stabilization and expansion will be based upon the information that our financial partner in Grow America is able to collaborate with these businesses to develop a set of financial documents that can clearly define their position and the impact of COVID to their position, and then leverage that financial assessment as a critical tool around how we provide grant support to those businesses as we move forward. So I think it's a great question, but we are in a good position to not only provide the grant support, but also provide some intelligence on how those businesses can continue to move forward.
Yeah, and I just one last comment.
Yes, sir.
You know, when we're distributing this amount of cash, being able to go back and look at those metrics, look at the outcomes, look at the outputs, and really be able to, you know, shine a spotlight on SLDC's work to stabilize the businesses, grow those businesses, create economic opportunities for others. I think there's just a wonderful opportunity, and I'd hate to look back in 3 years or 5 years and not have that information at hand. So just another thing to consider and think about.
Yeah, Director Spencer, I would just say that my colleagues in the compliance team would not allow me to move forward and not have things in place to be able to track the impact of these resources. And I say that lovingly. We have a great partnership, but we are thoughtfully making sure that when we do issue grant dollars, there is a grant agreement for all dollars that move to a small business, and that does come with some compliance that is required for those businesses to be able to communicate back to us on an ongoing basis through the compliance period of 2026 to ensure that those funds are being allocated and leveraged to support their business moving forward. So great question and thoughts, Director Spencer.
And thanks for all your work. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, I know there's been, a lot of feedback around the velocity in which these funds are being distributed. But as we received, again, overwhelming response through October of 2023, so just several months ago, of the applications. We wanted to ensure that we were providing capacity building for all of the businesses that apply through the program, so they can, get their books and records in order, understand their P&L, understand their balance sheet. And then also, that was just one piece. And then also, as we are seeing the applications for funding, really helping them go back to understand and measure what was the impact of COVID on your operations, and how do we ensure that you are right sized for that kind of loss in revenue, and then support the stabilization on that long term. And we're going through every business. So again, it's not just looking at it as a blanketed statement. We have a scorecard and then we just push out money. It's actually spending time with these businesses, really understanding their financial position, helping them get their financial records in order, understanding their P&L and their balance sheet. So then as they move forward in their operations, they have these tools to support them go after other funding to expand and grow their business too. But then also for us to really be able to make an assessment of the impact that COVID has had on these individual businesses and the funds that are associated with it. As we talked about community needs and the community enhancement components, really understanding how we're going to leverage the brick and mortar projects to enhance the work that the community has expressed as a need in their area, and prioritizing those particular projects to ensure those neighborhoods are strengthened as a result of COVID and any other potential economic downturns. So we've been very thoughtful about this and ensuring that, again, we're not just rolling dollars out the door into the hands of businesses. We're really spending the time to understand their financial position, build their capacity, provide them with support today and long term. And as you all can imagine, when you have almost 700 businesses to support at that level, it takes time to get this right. And this is the largest pot of resources that SLDC has in our stewardship to support small businesses. So we want to make sure that we are, again, doing the work to recover from COVID, but also to build a more robust and resilient economy. So I want to thank you for your question, Director Sean Spencer, and pass it over to Director Gilbert for any questions or comments.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to be sure I understood that these grants this isn't to the technical assistant provider. These are the actual grants that are going to the businesses, and they don't come.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead. Darren.
No, it's make sure that, this isn't, we aren't double dipping here. I think we approved a work program for the technical assistance piece.
Yes, ma'am.
Elsewhere. These are the actual grants.
Commissioner, Director Gilbert, that is correct. we have, again, to your point, a different initiative, or more importantly, a resolution that allowed us to bring the support to pay for the training and education. This is a resolution actually seeking your support to move dollars into the hands of businesses that have completed the first stage of this work, for them to actually receive this benefit to begin to move their business through recovery.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions, comments from the directors about this resolution? Okay. Hearing now, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 926 per previous row.
So moved.
For a second,
Second, Sean Spencer.
have a motion and a second to approve previous row for resolution number 926. Any objections? Abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Lance, and the hard work of the SLDC staff to get this moving forward. I know it's an amazing feat of going that deep with every one of these businesses to make sure that we get this right. It's important. So thank you. I'll move on to the next resolution, resolution number 24 SLDC 927, authorizing agreement between SLDC and the city of St. Louis by and through its community development administration for program operations at the Workforce Development Center located at 3940 Martin Luther King Drive. Pass it over to our Director of Senior Vice President of Equitable and Inclusive Development, Mr. Rob Orr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, I've been having audio problems, so I'm actually logged in twice. Hopefully I won't get any feedback here. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to present SLDC resolution number 927, which authorizes the acceptance of funds and the execution of a subrecipient agreement with CDA. These are ARPA funds that will be utilized for the development of the new Workforce Development Center that is located at 3940 Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. Most of you are aware it's the former Killark manufacturing facility. It will hopefully have a new name that will operate under sometime in the near future. But this agreement permits the transfer of those funds to SLDC as a subrecipient to provide programming and facilities management services for this facility. Just to give you all a little bit of a background as to where we are, this 15-acre site, 150,000 square foot main industrial building was acquired by LCRA late last year, and we are currently working with the Environmental Protection Agency, a federal agency that is providing technical assistance that will help us. They are helping create conceptual plans and space utilization plans for the repurposing of this facility. That work is ongoing. We've seen a first draft of what they've proposed, and it's really exciting. We've provided our comments back to them, and they will be using those comments and revising their plans. And we expect a final report to be presented sometime by mid-March, which is when their contract expires. Building on the technical assistance work that the EPA is providing, LCRA currently has an RFQ out to hire an architectural engineering firm to actually build on the work that the EPA is providing us. And they will actually create the architectural plans that will be used to secure building permits, and that will design the final the floor plans and all of the public or shared spaces that are necessary for what we expect to become a multi-agency facility focused around workforce development and employment opportunities. We will be taking to the LCRA board this next Tuesday a recommendation for an architectural structural engineering team that will actually take on that work. And this funding that we are seeking authorization for today is actually program and facilities management. So we will be issuing an RFP to hire a firm or individuals who will actually oversee the day-to-day operations of the facility, make sure the utilities are operational, make sure invoices get paid. But beyond that, we'll be working with potential tenants and businesses that may occupy space in the building. They will also be working very closely with the architectural and structural engineering firm on the design and the proposed build out of the facility, and then also overseeing, helping oversee the construction of those plans. So with that, I would entertain any questions.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate the overview. Any questions or comments from the directors? Director Spencer, John Spencer.
Just a quick question on that last comment you said, Rob. One of the things that I see and I love about SLDC right now is that you guys are taking ownership and really looking at projects and trying to figure out ways to make all these work inside the organization. But are we looking at some sort of project manager that's going to, take these architectural plans, do the bidding? It just seems like sometimes it gets put, maybe everything's on Rob's shoulders to handle. So just wondering if there's a plan to put somebody in place that could be kind of an in-between, or is that something that you feel like is just going to happen, within the organization with the current capacity?
Excellent question. Yes. So the RFP that will be issued for program and facilities manager will be that entity that wakes up every day knowing what's going on in the building, helping facilitate the build out. They will essentially be the go-between our agency and the architects, and then also the ultimate tenants that will occupy space in the building. To your point, Peter Phillips and his team has been doing an amazing job adding this oversight onto their daily work. And so I understand that is coming to an end because we have a lot invested in this facility, and we're going to be investing a lot more in this facility. It's really going to be a catalyst for redevelopment, we hope, of the MLK corridor. And so that's what this funding will help provide for, is that management of the facility on a day-to-day basis that will take us from where we are today through renovation and occupancy.
So it's for the renovation, and it's also then going to be the ongoing property management after the construction's done.
Yes, and I think it's kind of a bridge at a minimum for now. Ultimately, there may be an executive director hired to oversee the entire facility that would be maybe an employee situation, but it's really to get us from here to there without any dropping the ball on any of these key steps that are really important as we look to spend the funds and occupy the building sooner than later. The longer it sits there, it's not productive. We want to bring it online. LRA will be relocating its maintenance facilities there. Probably one of the first tenants to occupy space. There's an area in the building that I think is well suited for moving their operations into this facility. So this program and facilities manager literally is that bridge to what someday may become an executive director position. I liken it to kind of the T-Rex model, where Patty Hagan is, not only the director of the facility, all of the operations, programming in the space, working with all of the collaborators that are in T-Rex. I think that's ultimately the direction we're planning to head.
Exactly right, Rob. Exactly right. Director Spencer, that was a great question. And Rob is also, we have an RFP that just was completed for responses. I think Monday, Rob, it was around architects and engineers for the space. So really starting to design, build out, do the bidding, and working with the facilities manager to really help start to operate this building, but we need the funds to start doing that work. So that's what this resolution is.
Yeah, I'll just add that we wanted some overlap with the architect and engineering firm with the EPA work, because once we lose the EPA consultants, they're no longer accessible to us. I'm sure they respond to emails and that sort of thing. But the architect and engineering, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineering firm that will be hired, we will be presenting to the LCRA board next Tuesday, as I mentioned. This afternoon, we are actually interviewing 2 of our top 4 candidates that we've identified. by the selection committee, and tomorrow we will be interviewing 2 other firms. We were very excited and pleased with the quality of proposals that we've received. We received 14, which is blew me away. I was expecting 4 or 5 maybe, and we're very happy to have received 14 and some very strong firms from within the region, and really looking forward to making that decision tomorrow and presenting it to the LCRA board on Tuesday.
Point of clarification, LCRA is not next Tuesday, it's the following Tuesday.
Thank you. I appreciate the extra week.
All right, thanks. Any other comments from the directors or questions? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 927 per previous roll.
So moved, Gilbert.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to previous roll. Are there any objections? Abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes to approve the resolution. Thank you, Rob, and the great work of your team. Look forward to this moving forward and keeping the board abreast of the progress. The next item on the agenda, resolution number 24 SLDC 928, authorizing agreement between SLDC and the City of St. Louis through CDA to assist with the execution of the Digital Inclusion Action Plan. Pass it over to our Chief Technology Officer, Mr. Simon Wong. Simon.
Thank you, Chairman Richardson, and good morning to directors of the board and the staff. I'm happy to be here to request this approval of this resolution on the transfer of some funds from CDA to SLDC for execution of some of the projects outlined in the Digital Inclusion Action Plan. And I'm actually out of town at a conference, a national conference on digital inclusion, and one of the speakers exhorted all of us, whenever we talk about digital equity and digital inclusion, to make sure that everybody that we're talking to has been level set on what we're talking about. So if you would indulge me in for a minute or two while I talk about digital equity, I would appreciate it. So digital equity is the state where everybody, every resident, every stakeholder has access to all the resources that they need to participate in this ever-increasing digital world. And in the past, whenever we've talked about digital divide, people have always looked at this as a technological issue where you need broadband and you need connectivity. And that is definitely one aspect of it. But in today's world, where we have pervasive connectivity, in fact, the city of St. Louis is 99% covered by spectrum. So everybody has access to some sort of broadband. We don't have the level of competition that we need to drive prices down, but we do have coverage. But its coverage is not as big of an issue in St. Louis. Of the 3 legs of the stool, connectivity is one of them, and affordability of both the service and devices is another leg of the stool. And the third leg of the stool is digital skills on, even after you get your hands on the tech and the devices and you can afford it, do you have the training and the skills to effectively leverage this technology? So digital equity looks at all of those components. And in the face of the Affordable Connectivity Program winding down, in fact, they've already stopped taking any new enrollments. And the Affordable Connectivity Program was a government program that provided a stipend to qualified households of about $30 a month, in which cases offset their internet access, right? And there's huge concern over what's going to happen to millions of people nationwide, and there's about 30,000 households in St. Louis that could be infected if the funding for this is not renewed in Congress, and that's where it's tied up at this point. So that's the background. The funding in this particular resolution was initially moved over to CDA via the Board of Aldermen back in March of 2023. And the CDA is helping us execute on some programs, but for another list of programs, we've agreed that it probably makes sense for SLDC to handle the execution of those. And so we're asking for the transfer of about $2.3 million from CDA to SLDC so that we can focus on projects like expanding the learning labs in the recreation centers, helping build up the coalition in St. Louis to coordinate the work of multiple organizations doing work already in the city in this area, and also maybe build a data platform to coordinate data tracking and better coordination amongst all the stakeholders. And I will pause here and ask for questions or answer any questions if there are.
Thank you, Simon, for that overview and the great work that you're doing around digital equity and digital inclusion as a Chief Technology Officer for not just SLDC, but for the city of St. Louis overall. And again, we could not be happier or more fortunate to have you in your position leading this great work. Any questions from the directors about this resolution? I do want to make one quick note, upon SLDC approving this resolution and the one that was previously approved through resolution number 24/927, that we will now have obligated all of the ARPA funds that have been allocated to SLDC. So that would be all of the funds transferred from the city CDA to SLDC of almost $109 million across 14 programs. These are all new programs that have been stood up over the last 2 years. And so again, I want to commend the staff for their hard work associated with this. So with that, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 928 per previous roll.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second, Gilbert.
I have a motion and a second. Any objections to previous roll? Abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 928. And again, I want to commend the staff, this board here, for their hard work as we are standing up again 14 new programs totaling $109 million. And while we know it's a great pleasure and take a lot of accountability and ownership of being stewards of these funds, it's also important that we address the harm that's been caused by COVID, and then ultimately build a more robust, resilient economy, leveraging those proceeds, making smart investments as we're setting up these programs to ensure that we are earning the appropriate interest to then reinvest into other initiatives similar to the Laclede Landing Main Street program. And again, it's a privilege to have these resources. But the administrative burden here is very significant. We do have one last resolution that we will need to cover today, and also one last approval from the board as it relates to ARPA funding that will come at a later date, but that is an additional set of funds that will be to cover some of the administrative costs to implement these programs. So that will be coming at a later date, but again, appreciate the support and patience as we build the team and get these dollars out in the most appropriate way. So the last resolution today is resolution number 24 SLDC 929, authorizing the approval of an extension of a contract between SLDC with our auditing services firm. I'll pass it over to our CFO, Mr. Charlie Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hope everybody can hear me.
We can. Thank you.
If you recall, I think we mentioned when the auditors presented the FY23 audit back in December that was the concluding year of their contract. They have since proposed extending that contract for an additional year plus 3 one-year options. The extension price probably is slightly above the the old price, when you factor in annual inflation numbers, it's really close. It's $63,100 for the first year, and then gives them the option to raise it up to 5% for ensuing years if we elect to go forward. The firm Smershel Trelaw was retained in 2016 under an RFP process that was at the time the committee was represented by the Board of Aldermen, a member of the appointed by the Board of Aldermen, the Comptroller's Office, and the Mayor's Office, plus staff here. They have since that time almost partnered with an MBE firm, Randall and Associates. Randall is required to have a minimum of 25%, but up to 48% of the work. They work well as a team. Smershel itself is a mid-sized firm specializing in governmental, not quasi-governmental and not-for-profits, although they do a number of corporate audits also. They also have a HR side to their firm. If we have HR questions, they also have a tax side of their firm. If we have tax questions, they interact with IRS on matters. They do filings for us for the not-for-profits that are under SLDC's umbrella. And we think by mid-sized firms, I think they have between, I'm just going to ballpark 50 to 100 people as they need them. And of course, we have been getting not new faces every year, but familiar people that we work with. They know our system. They can work in a hybrid manner, such that they can work outside the office digitally, or actually come into the office. David rents us out the law library for a very good price, so that's where they reside when they come in. And I think their number is priced right. They got a year and a half of the ARPA work that we've done under their belt. They had a clean report last time. We'd like to move forward with them. Continuity is very important on the audit side. The city is very satisfied with them, as our audit's incorporated in part of the city audit. And the KPMG is the lead at the city. And I ask for your consideration of this resolution.
Thank you, Charlie. And one of the items within the resolution that I want to ensure is highlighted is that up to 48% of the contract could be potentially subcontracted out to Randall and Associates, which is a certified MBE firm. So they meet those requirements as well. So appreciate that overview. Charlie, any questions, comments from the board? Hearing none. Alderwoman Spencer.
Thank you, Director Richardson. I'd just like to abstain from this vote. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you. So with that, I would like to entertain a motion to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 929.
So move, Gilbert.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Director Gilbert,
Aye.
Director Sean Spencer,
Aye.
Director Reed,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Kara Spencer,
Abstain.
and Chair Richardson.
Aye. With that, the motion passes to approve resolution number 24 SLDC 929. Wow, we got through, I think, 10 resolutions. There are 9 resolutions in a short period of time. So we'll move forward to the open agenda director's report. I'm excited about, the work again that our staff is doing here at SLDC. to move the ARPA programs forward on behalf of the city of St. Louis. I want to give a special thank you to Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Alderwoman Spencer, and then the mayor's office for their trust in SLDC to be good stewards of these funds and deploy them in ways in which the legislation was written in the spirit and the intent. So again, very appreciative of that support and the staff that we brought on board to execute that work. But also recognize that the work that SLDC has done since I've taken over, we've had the ARPA funds at our disposal and been moving those programs forward, again, standing up 14 new programs, but also ensuring that we are updating our processes and policies around tax incentives, abatements, as well as how we are educating the community and informing the community about these very complicated matters. As we are deeply embedded in economic development every day, we are known as the alphabet soup agency and building overhead 1520 market. I think that's what the Board of Aldermen calls us, overhead 1520. We know economic development can be very complicated, convoluted, have many different tools that we can leverage. So it's important that we educate the community on how these incentives work in a very rudimentary way and that they can understand it. And I think the way that I was taught is if you're going to communicate publicly about something to the community, you need to ensure that you communicate it at even like a second, third grade level, not to insult the community in any way, but we're practitioners in this space, and I think it's very important if we're going to encourage engagement that they are informed and educated and empowered. And so we are developing a set of educational tools and videos that will be shared with the community in a public forum, where they will have access to really understand how the economic development is driven, understand SLDC, our roles and responsibilities. And our first video that we are going to roll out is the tax abatement and incentive educational videos. So I would like to share a quick clip of this video with the board so you can see what's going on. Again, this is the first video of a series of videos that we will be releasing on topics related to economic development matters. So I'll pass it over to our great team at Candid Communications and Marketing that led this work. So please, Sarah, go ahead and tee up the video. Sarah, we can't hear it if there's any sound playing.
Okay, let me try this again then. Apologies for that. For some reason, Zoom is not letting me share with the audio, which is strange.
Maybe is Celeste able to make Sarah the host of the meeting? Maybe that would help.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, let me try this again. Okay, that is so strange. Okay, my apologies. This doesn't normally happen. Let's try. Were you able to hear that audio at all?
No.
Nothing
No.
to share. at all.
Okay. Okay. How about now? No?
No, nothing, Sarah. So what we'll do is share the videos and the links with the board, because this will go out to the public. So I just want to ensure that the board is aware, kind of see the quality of the videos. I think when initially we putting it together, it was very similar to kind of schoolhouse rock style, the development of a bill. So we have a very similar approach with kind of 2024 technology that's been added to it. But the videos do give an overview of the tax abatement process, how tax abatements impact community and their impact on the various taxing districts as well, from the city of St. Louis school board, St. Louis Public School Board, excuse me, and how the properties and the tax abatements, even day one of their development, add additional revenue. And it also gives a impact statement of the work that SLDC and the boards, respective development boards, have delivered over the last 5 years, to 2017 to 2022. As you can see quickly here, a quick snapshot of those investments that have been created through leveraging that tool. And then we will also share the Positively STL video with the group as well from this month, that gives an update on LRA and the progress that's being made there under the leadership of Mr. Shelton Anderson and his great group. So again, really appreciative of you all's hard work in delivering these videos. I would definitely encourage the board to take a moment and review the videos. I think you'll be very excited and impressed with that work. Alderwoman Hubbard, I'll pass it over to you. Yeah.
Did I miss when they would be shared and where? For
You
the
wanna get that, yeah, for sure. Do you want to give that update, Sarah?
Sure. I am hoping that we are going to be able to get them all posted today, and they will be on SLDC's website. There's a developer version and a public version, and the developer version, which is a pretty lengthy version that really digs into the process, will be available on the developer portal on the developstlouis.org website, as well as on the tax abatement education page that has some other materials that explain what tax abatement is. We'll also have it posted on our YouTube channel, and then we'll push it out via social media as well.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it, and I definitely want to help with getting the word out.
Yeah, it's been a labor of love. This has been months in the making, doing this first of its kind animated video. So we're excited to release it to the public and help educate about what tax abatement is and what some of the other economic development tools are in the toolbox that St. Louis has at its disposal.
Absolutely.
And I apologize for the technical difficulties. I don't know what happened.
Sarah and Chairman Richardson, do you mind if I try to see if I can play the videos?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I would love to just try it real quickly. I would like to adjourn the meeting before 10 a.m. if possible.
Do you have that one, Celeste, by chance?
I am in the shared drive. Do you want me to play the tax abatement video first?
It should be impact video 1.
Let's see.
You got to pull up the title. Yeah. Go to file information under that drop down that you were just in.
Oh yeah, and it's the first one in that
Go
folder.
to file information. File information. You're on it. Details. Yeah, that's the one. Impact 1. Yeah, that's the one.
This one right here?
Yes, thank you.
To encourage development and investment in new commercial and residential construction in the city of St. Louis, SLDC offers various economic development incentives. One tool we use is property tax abatement, which reduces the increase in real property taxes a property owner must pay after redevelopment of the property for an agreed upon period of time. The company commits to investing the money it saves in new facilities and hiring new employees. Through these partnerships, vacant buildings and land can be transformed and reactivated to create jobs and new commercial or residential opportunities while generating more revenue for schools and city services. In 2019, the city of St. Louis offered a 90% 10-year tax abatement that was used to redevelop a former car wash site on Morgan Ford Road into a 26-unit apartment building with ground floor commercial space. Pre-development taxes for the site were $8,500. During the abatement period, annual property taxes are about $16,000. Once the tax abatement ends in 2029, property taxes are expected to be about $85,000 per year, which is an increase of $76,500 per year. By investing tax savings in redevelopment, the property began generating new taxes for the city and St. Louis Public Schools.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for that clip. So it's about a 6-minute video and it has, again, more details about the developer process as well, and then has a more public friendly version that just gives a more in-depth overview of the impact of tax abatement, how the tool works and supports the overall economic growth of our city. So thank you again, Sarah. I think that was great. Thank you, Celeste, for jumping in midstream and making it happen. In our last few minutes here, I do want to open it up to any of our directors for any last comments or questions, concerns as we move forward. Hey.
I'll just say that video is long overdue, and that's a way to keep something else on your plate. I just think it's incredible to be able to communicate in that way to the public and to people that are interested in investing here. So thanks for making
exactly. And so what we'll do, and Sarah, if you can support me in this, is ensure that we also send it out to the board directly, just so they can have it, and then also to the Board of Aldermen, so they can have a separate communication and receive this information. We did reach out, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard and also Alderwoman Spencer. We have been in contact with President Green's office about the video. They did provide some comments and some feedback. One of their comments was specifically around the technical nature of the program and how challenging it is to understand. So we are providing some other kind of documentation that supports the videos and reference documents. We also offered a training and overview session for all of the Board of Aldermen to participate in. So we scheduled that meeting with the president's office and offered it up to every member of the Board of Aldermen to participate in these sessions to ensure that you all are well informed, because we want to continue to build that partnership with the Board of Aldermen. And also sharing this with the St. Louis Public Schools board, as we are partnering with them closely through the incentive process and the tax abatement process too. So again, thank you all for your support. With that, our next regular scheduled board meeting is Thursday, March 21st, 2024 at 8 a.m. That will be held via Zoom. And I want to thank you all for coming out and spending 2 hours with us this morning. With that, I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. You all have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Appreciate it.
Cool. Everybody have a blessed day.
It's it. Bye-bye.